Hello, I'm Christy Bridges from One Moment Wiser, and I have with us a special guest today, my friend, author Sarah Freeman, or Sarah Doon is her pen name, and she's from Write to Edit. Now, today we want to help you grab those ideas that you're surrounded with during the holiday season. You might be dreaming of writing a novel someday, but thinking you're too busy right now, and you don't realize that everywhere you go in the next month, you're going to be surrounded by all kinds of inspiration, stories that people tell, and neat experiences and smells and sights. So we want to help you grab those and start building ideas for your novel. We've got a series of workshops we're going to unfold that will help you build your novel in 2019 if you stick with us. So if you will stick around, we've got some great surprises for you. And first of all, let me just ask, are you in your PJs? We are. We are enjoying the ability to have a break right before the holidays begin, and then we get rushed. So we're wearing our Christmas PJs, and I've got a cup of chai and cider. And Sarah, what do you have?
Cider.
Awesome. And so we're going to share this video so that our buddies on our pages can watch, and then we will get started. Boom, boom. There we are. Well, Sarah, tell me about yourself. Why do you enjoy writing? How did you get started?
Well, Christy, it wasn't something that was on my radar. I attended Oral Roberts to become a corporate lawyer. But halfway through, probably around my sophomore, junior year, I kind of felt led to do something different. But I didn't know what. And I had an English teacher tell me when we did a writing prompt, "You're a writer." And it kind of took me by surprise because I come from a family of business people. So that was not even in my thoughts. So I graduated, worked for a software company. And like a few years later, they had me do a project where they had me write. And then they asked me to join their technical manual writing department. And I was like, So it was a lot of seeds along the way. So I took an online writing course. And I loved it. And I would write like for hours every weekend. And I knew this is going to be something in my future. So I took a jump a few years later and took some English courses and started writing.
That's awesome. And I like that, we have a little bit in common. We feel that we need to be responsible. So you went into technical writing because, that sounded official and reliable. And then you discovered how much you enjoyed writing and it really could be a career. How did your family respond to that?
Well, I didn't tell my dad till after I graduated that I wasn't going to pursue law. So he was taken back. But they, once I started writing different material and I would write them stories, I think they encouraged it because, they knew that I wouldn't just pursue something unless it was in my heart. And now they're just, especially because I've helped with writing my family's memoir, they can see, yes, this is a passion and a gift. And yeah, they're very supportive.
That's wonderful. So it's that time of year. Do you have any Christmas gifts yet?
I do. Would you?
Oh, I love presents. What do you have?
I do too. So this is a time where we want to encourage you guys to give yourself a gift of writing. So we are going to give you little ideas to help get your book started. The first one, plastic lips. This is, yes, 'tis the season to listen to the stories all around you. Maybe when you're standing in the checkout line going Christmas shopping, or when you're gathered with your family and friends. And this is great because the plastic lips, if you think of it placed over your mouth, you can't talk. But if you can think of other people sharing their stories, because people have so many fascinating stories to tell, but sometimes we get so caught up, especially during the holidays, shopping, decorating, cleaning, that we don't engage in the stories all around us.
we tend to think about ourselves and do we look right and how long do we have to be here and things like that. When we start to get curious about others, it opens up the experience.
Absolutely. So, an action step, very important and very easy, is when you're gathered together with your loved ones, family and friends at different parties, people tend to reminisce and share their stories. Instead of just jumping and sharing your story, put on your investigator or journalist hat and listen to what they're saying. And yeah, you're probably like, ugh, I've heard my grandma tell this story 20 times. No, think deeper. What's the story behind the story? If she fell in love with your grandpa, what was going on? Was she dating someone else? Was she giving up on love, or was she even not even thinking about love? There's so many things that you can ask them during that time. Or if someone has a swashbuckle, an adventure that you just love to hear, find out, what happened behind the scenes to make it happen.
That's a really great idea. Swashbuckling adventure. I like that. Yeah. Fantastic. So people have stories. Grandma was 20 at some point, right? Grandpa was 25 at some point. We don't think sometimes about who people were before they started meeting our needs. So that's great.
Absolutely.
What other gifts do you have, Sarah?
Okie dokie. Here's a beautiful Christmas gift bag. And voila. Let's see if you can see this.
Oh, hold it closer. I want to see better. I love old pictures. And it says dream and discover. Ooh, that's very appropriate.
This is my grandma and grandpa and their wedding day. And the reason why I showing you this is because I'm actually writing their love story, fictionalizing it. And having a picture, I have other pictures that I got from my grandma, helps to connect me to the times that I'm writing about, and also the characters. You can see how they dress, what they're what their hairstyle, even their posture, their gestures, and that can really connect you to your characters. I writing a young adult novel, and I went online and just found real people that seem to represent the characters that I had, so that way I had a frame of reference and can connect to who they are.
No, that totally makes sense. And there's sometimes different, ways of speaking, or the movie stars that they swooned over. There's other things that can really add depth to that picture. So you fictionalized your grandparents' story. Why did you do that? What prompted you to just not write it straight out?
Well, my grandma, for one. When I helped my parents write their memoir, I interviewed my grandma, and she had such a rich love story, but because it was my parents' story, we couldn't fit it all in. So I asked her later, well, can we do a memoir of your story on its own? And she said no. I waited about 3 days and said, how about if we fictionalize it? And she was on board. And it was a great treasure and adventure for me, because I was able to read about 300 of my grandpa's love letters that he wrote to her during the war. And it not only helped me to get to know him, but I also took from that the way he, slang, the way he but the way he used different words, and the movies he loved, the music. And it was just really a great time to connect with the story even more.
Oh, that is so cool. How old was he back then?
He was in his early 20s.
Gosh,
I know.
Hard to imagine. That's really neat. So you waited a couple days and then you asked. People do feel honored when we care about their stories.
Absolutely.
And sometimes maybe they might be embarrassed if they feel that everybody's going to know their inner life, but we can fictionalize things to the extent that nobody knows who that person is, but everybody enjoys the story.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what action step can we take?
Okay, so think about the genre that you want to write in, and interview one person, whether family or loved ones, that has the story that really compels you. So for instance, if you're writing a romance, find the person that has the most swoon-worthy love story and interview them thoroughly and find out why they fell in love and the setting of what was happening before, during, and after. If you're writing a suspense, find that person that's always running into an adventure and has the best stories when you have family get-togethers, and interview them and find out, what really happened that, that goes beyond just what they're sharing, because there's always a story behind a story. And that's important for you to listen and do it one-on-one, where you can ask these probing questions to find out more, because fiction is so important. It helps you to understand the reality that you live in. So by fictionalizing these stories, you're going to learn more and help people to understand their world even better.
That's so true. And, look for the conflict. In every story, there's the beginning, and then there's the struggles or things that they had to face and then become victorious over. And that's what keeps the reader hanging on. Absolutely. So look for those conflicts, those struggles that are in the stories. That shouldn't be shameful at all to talk about. That should be something that everyone can say, well, I lived through that and I'm still here. Awesome. Well, I have a present.
Ooh.
So right here, let's see what it is. I think the bow is glued together. There we go. I have a coffee cup and a coupon book.
Ooh.
Well, what can I do with these? So when I was young, I used to make coupon books for my mom for Christmas and Mother's Day. And they would have things like one free breakfast or one free foot massage or free babysitting, because my brother and sister were so much younger. And so we get coupons all through the holiday, right?
Yeah.
You get birthday coupons, or you might get dinner coupons. And this, a cup that my mom designed, reminds me I can take a coupon and go to a restaurant and sit and get so many stories all around you. I've done this plenty of times. I've written songs where I used the little girl on the playground's red shoes as part of the, scene setting. I've written scenes of dialogue where I've kind of eavesdropped a little bit on the couple in the next table, or the 14-year-old with her friends that are out for her birthday. So we can get the smells and the sounds and the ways people talk and the body language. Body language is something that we kind of have to learn to write, but it really adds depth to our stories. And you don't think of body language, you automatically interpret it because you've grown up interpreting it from even before you learn to speak. But when you have to write about it, you need to know, when I'm mad, do I wrinkle my brow or do I go like this, right? So when you're writing about things, you watching people in a public place while you're sipping on a cup of tea can give you perspective and new ideas that'll make your novel come alive.
So Christy, what's your action step?
My action step is to take a coupon. You want to save money, right? And go out and sit, and don't be shy. Take a notebook or a laptop and just listen and smell and taste and observe. Write that stuff down.
Yes. Now, what's your last gift?
Well, I have some more gifts after we pause for a second. Let's see if we have any questions. Doop, 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 doop. Nope, I can't see the questions. Give me just a second.
Okay. Yeah, so feel free to type in any questions you have right now.
That's right. And if you're watching this on replay or if you're listening to this on the podcast, feel free to share it, and you can always contact us. I'm available on Facebook or online at One Moment Wiser, also on Twitter. And Sarah is at Write to the number 2 edit. So Write to edit. So at the moment, doesn't look like we have any questions. We have some sleepy heads that are just enjoying the show. So why don't we move on? If you joined after this began, I'll just remind you, I'm Christy Bridges from One Moment Wiser. My friend and author Sarah Soon of Write to Edit. And we are helping you grab those story ideas that are all around you through the holidays. When I was 7, I would come home from school and say, give me an idea. And someone would say teddy bear or puppy dog. And I would write a short story. And that was really fun. That was my first writing experience. But, after a while, those ideas got kind of old. Sarah, are you still writing about teddy bears and puppy dogs?
Afraid not. Princesses.
I had to start finding my own ideas. By the time I graduated high school, I had written several songs, and I was, growing in that quite a bit. And since then, when I was in my 20s, I discovered Writer's Digest. And Sarah, you talked about, is that what inspired you too? Oh, man.
No, but I subscribe to it now and enjoy reading it.
It's wonderful. I would come home. I can wait on Friday nights, and I would just sit for hours trying out the techniques and the writing prompts that they had given us. And it was good for me because at the time I was dealing with overcoming some traumatic events in my life. Mm-hmm. And just like with your grandparents, I fictionalized those. Oh, wow. For me, it helped me distance myself from some of the situations, and I was able actually to gain better perspective, but I was also able to be more dramatic when, there are times you want to like, rah, and you kept it from being just one long sob fest.
Yes.
Makes sense? It was
therapy.
Yeah, it was therapeutic. It was kind of amateur, the story, but it was the first, and it taught me a lot of writing concepts that we want to share with our listeners. When I got a little older, I started writing books of my own. I kept writing songs, and then I have written 4 books. And the first one of those was my grandpa's stories. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the most recent one, the 5th book that's coming out at the beginning of the year, Sarah, you actually contributed an awesome chapter to. Thank you for that. That's called Option Ocean, and it's for those, for anyone. We designed it for the 18 to 25-year-old, but it's really for anyone who's standing at a point in life where you're surrounded by that sea of possibilities, and you're like, where do I go from here? Yep. And so Option Ocean has some very excellent people I respect, writing devotionals for that particular reader. Thank you for that, Sarah. I appreciate you being part of that.
Oh, I was excited, especially the audience that we're writing to.
Definitely. Well, so our action step right here is we want you to stick around to the end. At 10:30, you will be getting 2 awesome surprises. Wait.
That was so great too. Good at English. You didn't say we were good at math.
That's right. I have another gift. Are we ready for that? Okay, so this. I wonder what it is. This is a stereoscope.
Ooh, I like it.
Can you see through it? Wait,
yes.
Let's see. I don't know if this will work, but we'll see. Hey, come here. Okay, so obviously I don't know how to use it yet. The idea is...
Oh, there you go. Right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah. They would print cards like this. It was done around 1900 to 1910. And they would make cards like this. And you could put it in here, and it was like you could see 3D. So it was the first attempt at trying to see 3D when your eyes are separated and they merge on those cards. Well, when I was first started writing books, my first one was my grandpa's stories.
Oh, that's right.
Oh man, that I was his last birthday gift. The year that he passed away, I gave him his book of stories for his birthday. And he had started losing his memory. And he didn't, he was on unfamiliar ground. He'd lived in the same house for 63 years with the same wife for 67 years. And she was gone and he was in a nursing home. And he started reading the book. And the whole time he said, "That's exactly how it happened. That's exactly how it happened."
Oh,
and from that point forward, he would tell those stories again. It was awesome. Best night of my life. But I got so excited. I enjoyed that process so much that I actually helped others write their family stories with the Where We Belong group. And you've been to that group too. And one thing that we find is that when you have things like this, you can go to an antique shop and get someone talking, watch Antique Roadshow, or what's that other one, Pawn Stars, and hear stories behind items. Then you can fill in some of the gaps and make your story more vibrant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can even go online to historical societies and see pictures from the time or the era that you're writing in. And I did that with my grandparents' story.
I bet. Did you listen to their old music and stuff too?
I did. The big band, is it Woody Herman, Glenn Miller,
Benny Goodman? Yeah.
And I would listen to it, and it just got me in the mood and kind of helped me to understand what the feel of that era was.
Definitely. And, I love big band on my own, but it does add depth to it when you know that it's related to someone you care about or to a character that you're building. Even if you're not writing anything historical, think about all the anachronisms that the authors of Doctor Who and Discworld and, science fiction fantasy writers use that help us feel curious and somewhat familiar in the middle of the story. I like that. So your action step is to do what we did. Play music, watch movies, maybe find an old radio show like the Green Lantern back from the 20s.
Or Ranger.
Yeah. Walk around an antique shop. There are a couple of websites where you can find the 100 best inventions of the last century or most interesting inventions, different events that will give you a larger context.
Yeah, like I got this book from the 1930s.
Awesome. Which one is that?
It's from William Young and Nancy Young, American Popular Culture Through History, 1930s. So those are books like I found it on Amazon, or you can probably get it at your local library.
That makes sense. Well, I have one more gift. Do you mind if I open it?
Yeah. What is it, Christy? Oh, another one.
I like gifts.
Hey, it's Christmas time.
Oh, look.
Oh, the kissy pillow.
Why do I have a kissy pillow? What does this have to do with writing? Or even if you're not writing a love story, you need a kissy pillow. Here is the thing. You are spending so much time taking care of other people, thinking about what other people want. You probably spend, a lot of time this month or in November making dinner for all those turkeys. I mean, making that turkey dinner. So
calling your loved ones turkeys, Christy.
So you need a date with yourself. Make a writing date. What you want to do, your dream is important.
Absolutely.
After you've grabbed all these ideas, take some time to find a quiet place where you're not surrounded by ideas of things you have to do and consolidate. Try writing a scene or two. So for that, we are going to offer you a couple of free gifts.
I love free gifts.
I know, aren't they great? Okay, so number one, what's our first free gift, Sarah?
It's the writing prompts. We have 10 writing prompts.
So for that writing date that you have with yourself, take those writing prompts, because sometimes you finally get the space to think and your brain goes dark. So those writing prompts will jumpstart you. And once you start writing, just don't stop. Keep writing. It may transform into something completely else, or halfway through, you may just start a different topic. But they'll get you started thinking as a writer. Sarah, do you make writing a discipline in your life?
I have to. You also have to find the best rhythms for you. So I'm a morning person, so I do so much better, and my creative juices are going much easier in the morning. So I try to write in the mornings and then do the other stuff in the afternoons.
That makes sense. And I love those late nights where I get started on something instead of lying down, and then all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, I am deep into it. And it may take you a few minutes. You may wander a little bit. That first 10 minutes, just like a workout, first 10 minutes is sometimes a little painful. You're like, I don't want to do anything else. But it's so worth it when you see your book in print. So we are going to give you some writing prompts as well as these action steps that we've been talking about. And our other free gift is January 12th. You're accountable. Oh, well, we're not going to be bugging you all month, but we want to give you a time. Yep, write it on your calendar right there. January 12th, we're going to give you another free workshop, but it's going to be longer. Over an hour, probably about 90 minutes of activities to help you craft your scenes. So start practicing, collecting those ideas, and then see us January 12th. If you come January 12th, you'll get a free book planner that's going to take you from planning to launch. There are a lot of things involved in publishing a book besides just writing.
Absolutely.
You want to make money at your book, right? And you don't want to have to pay out of your own pocket for things like editing and book covers. So we'll help you get some book sales ahead of time to pay for those things, and also help you plan so that you don't run into surprises. Fantastic. Well, Sarah, what else do you have to say?
The one thing is just make it an adventure, because it should be a joy. And don't worry at first about, well, can I even write a decent sentence? Because your first draft is probably going to be, it's going to be rough. And that's why I should call it the rough draft, because you're just writing. Don't edit, just free write. And, because we gave you all these prompts, just take them. And, when you're listening to stories, then when you write it down, think about how you felt when you heard the stories, and just write from your heart. And don't edit until you're done.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. That is actually what stops most writers, most would-be writers, from ever writing. Because, they can't stop that inner voice from going, oh, this stinks. Oh, you need to fix that. Oh, fix that. Oh, fix that. And you spend hours on one paragraph. And that, why would you let someone at the beginning of a race run alongside you and say, and slow you down and hold you back? No, you're going to leave everybody behind and just get into your center and get into your breathing and go with it, right? Same thing with writing. You just get into your pen or your keyboard, and you just let it flow and allow yourself to go wherever you need to go. You can come back and fix it later.
Absolutely. That's the editing step.
That's right. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. So Sarah Soon with Write to Edit, and I'm Christy Bridges with One Moment Wiser, and we look forward to seeing you in January. Share this with your friends, like our pages. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.